What do you like about Priti Patel? You just said you were going to vote for her.
It's not so much what I like about Priti Patel, it's what I don't like about the Labour Party.
Okay, what's that?
Dharma. I think a lot of people vote for personalities, not policies or anything like that, because basically they're all the same. So, like me, I vote for personality, and I don't like the Reds.
Has Sunak got a better personality?
Of course he has, yeah.
What do you have against Labour?
I probably just don't like him. No, it's not right way of putting it, but yeah, it's probably him that I don't like.
I'd rather have the continuity. I think a change is going to be too much for the country.
As far as I'm concerned, Priti Patel is brilliant for Witham. And if it's a case of if I can vote for her, but still vote for Labour, I would.
Hugo, what about you? Do you like Priti Patel?
Look out, pieces on the road, on the streets with the microphone. Stop for a chat, tell us your deal. Who will you vote for? How do you feel? Peeps, pigs, it's such a bubble election. Peeps, pigs, it's such a bubble election.
Priti Patel first came to power here in Witham in 2010 when the Tories first got into power. The question is, despite numerous increasing majorities here, is her popularity on the wane, or is she going to survive another election fight?
I voted Tory when I was allowed to buy my council house. And that was the only way I was going to get on the ladder.
In the 80s, was it,
Yeah.
Thatcher?
Yep.
Is that what swung you to Tory?
Yeah, and I've been there ever since.
Do you think they've done a good job?
Yeah, I do. What else could Labour have done in the same position that we're in after the pandemic, after the war?
What do you think they've done well?
They paid us when furlough, when everyone was off work. Everyone got 80% of their wages.
I will vote for Conservative. I'll vote for Priti Patel.
Okay, and what is it about Priti Patel that you think is good?
I think she's done really well for the local community. I don't believe that if Labour get in, 4 years is not going to be long enough to turn what they think or they can turn around. So I think, Boris messed up a little bit, but up until
How did he mess up?
Well, it was the Partygate thing, wasn't it? And to be fair, he lives in the flat above number 10. People need to do their research and look into things rather than just jumping on what the media, say. There's a lot of people that lost people that couldn't visit people and stuff like that. COVID was not very good for a lot of people. We had to obviously stay in, couldn't go to the pub.
You just said to me that you're going to vote for Priti, right?
Yes.
What do you like about her?
She's done a lot for the community. She does support the community, and I come from Hatfield Peveril, so she's tried to help in housing developments or lack of. I think she's very active in our community, so I think she deserves some support.
So going on from Boris then, who came next?
Theresa May. I think that was someone kind of sort of just put in for the sake of, couldn't really think of anybody else to put in. And Rishi, Hang
on, you've missed out somebody pretty important though. What about Truss?
Liz Truss, sorry, yes, yeah. I don't think she got a fair chance neither, to be fair. Rishi, I think you should...
Do you think she should have been allowed to stay in power for longer?
I think they should give her a longer chance. If you want to compare it to something that I know a little bit about, Premiership footballers, managers, don't always give them enough time. And I don't think she had enough time.
So you know what's important to you?
Yeah.
You say the environment, does that mean you're going to vote Green?
No, I'm going to vote Conservative, actually.
You're going to vote Conservative? Yeah. Okay, sorry, I just assumed. Have you voted Conservative before?
Yes.
What makes you think that they are the best party to promote environmental issues?
That's, you really got me there.
Well, what is it you're worried about in terms of Green?
Well, just recycling, that sort of thing, forests and that sort of.
Do you think Priti's done a good job here?
Yes, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Anything in particular that you feel she's done really well?
Just the environment, like policing in schools, like I get newsletters through the door. So when I email her with like petitions from Greenpeace and she gets back to me.
I don't think she would have been the Alex Ferguson, but I think she could have been given more time. But then people were baying for blood, backbenchers, the opposition.
So, I mean, she's been accused of trashing the economy. Do you think that's not fair?
No, not at all. I think COVID trashed the economy. Yeah. That was an unforeseen. It doesn't matter what party was in power, Labour, Greens, UK, whatever it is.
I'm not going to vote for anybody because I feel like anyone that I did vote for in the past, they haven't really done what they said they were going to do.
Yeah, for the last 2 years I haven't voted and I don't intend to. Because they're all liars.
What have they lied about that's really bothered you?
I can't think of one thing. You've put me on the spot, but...
Yeah, sure.
Never actually voted.
Is it time to start?
I believe so.
Have I just changed your mind?
Yes, you have.
So it's an interesting one here. It's an interesting one. If we meet another person who says they're not going to vote, I'm going to scream.
I usually vote. Oh, I've always voted Conservative. This year I'm voting Labour.
Why?
Because I'm sick of the Conservatives and the mess they've made of everything. I just feel everything in this country that was once good is gone.
Hang on, your dog's licking my leg.
I think where they went wrong initially was Boris. He obviously took on things that he wasn't expecting and things that were unprecedented. But the way he handled it was wrong. And everything since COVID just seems to have gone steadily downhill.
But I still feel they needed a good chance because COVID really spoilt it, really. I think there was a lot of money that was going to come our way.
Would you like to see Priti return to front bench politics then?
Yeah, I don't think there'd be any harm in that. I think she'd do a good job. She's
about
a very strong-minded individual.
What about the Rwanda policy? Because that was one of the policies that she introduced under Boris Johnson. Do you think that needs to be given a bit more airtime?
Yes, I do. I think that too many people have been fighting against it, and it needs to be given a chance to operate fully, just to see whether it was right or wrong. I mean, any deterrent that works obviously will help us as well as a country. It's costing us an absolute fortune at the moment, with all these people coming in, and I know if we could actually help the countries out where they're all coming from, then they wouldn't need to come here in the first place.
So why aren't we doing that then?
Well, we probably are, but there's so many corrupt leaders in those sort of countries that it takes time for that sort of thing to get sorted.
Who are you planning to vote for this time around?
Well, it won't be Conservative and it won't be Labour. So when I get there, I shall make my mind up. It's probably be Farage's mob, for want of a better word.
Have you voted Tory before?
All the time.
So why are they losing you to Reform UK this time?
Well, they don't seem to be linked to the person in the street, do they? You know, they just seem to go on about with taxes, we do that, and we don't seem. And also, the people are coming in the country. There's far too many coming in here illegally. If they need it, good luck to them. I'd help them. But a lot of young men are coming in. I've been at Dover years ago. I see them wandering around. There's young men, leather coats and phones.
Do you not think the people that are taking that kind of a journey are doing it because they feel they've got no other choice? It's quite a dangerous thing that they're doing.
It's very dangerous. They haven't got a lot of a choice. And I'd like to help them. But don't forget, in our generation, years back, I don't mean my generation, many years back, we went through the same turmoil. We had to fight to get our Magna Carta, all the rest of it. Our women voting. You know?
Not Labour or... No, I don't like either of them at the moment.
Is there anyone else that you would consider then?
Not Nigel, whatever his name is. He's a well-known no.
Why?
No, because he reminds me of Putin. Yeah.
To me, like this airfield in Essex, where they kept the asylum seekers, I would give them the premises, and I'd say, there's the food, there's your bedding, get on with it. You've got to sort yourself out, you've got to do the cleaning, the washing, cooking. We don't do it. Because it's happened, you know, if we was abroad as a group of Brits or whatever were stranded and helpless, they would sort themselves out, I think. You've only got to try and get a doctor's appointment here. You've only got to try and get to a hospital. You know, it's just overcrowded. I'm not saying it's all immigrants, but at the end of the day, you can only support so many people, can't you? Irrespective of their nation.
So you think they need to stop the boats and make sure that there are fewer immigrants coming into the country?
Definitely, no, most definitely, because now everyone, I'm sure anyone you go ask, they're going to tell you that it's harder to find a job. Everything is gone up in price. I've been here since I was 6 years old, so I've been here for 20 years. But
do you feel that it's different now than when you were welcomed into the country?
Oh, most definitely, yes.
What do you think is different for the people that are looking for asylum or whatever now?
I know a few people that have just literally come into the country, and they're finding it very difficult to, like, I don't know how to say it, but we somehow adapted to the country, but they can't do it because everything's gone much harder now. Everything's more pricey. If you can't speak English, like, you can't talk to anybody, so it's just a case of...
But is the answer to that to just stop immigration or stop people from coming here? Is it about giving them more support, understanding their backstories?
To be honest, it's like for countries, for example, like they're going through war, then I would understand, like, to help them out and bring them into the country where you can give them a hand, but there's thousands and thousands of people coming in every day, and you don't know their backgrounds.
Can I ask who you want to vote for?
No.
What do you think?
It's not reform.
Okay.
I don't like Nigel Farage.
Why not?
I just don't.
I think reform is who the Tories are scared of this time around.
Absolutely not reform.
It's very opportune you interviewing me today, because yesterday I found on the floor a Conservative canvasser's crib sheet, just by pure piece of luck, and I knew it was genuine from the contact numbers and names on it, which obviously I won't divulge, but it mentioned reform over and over again. They're clearly very worried about the reform vote. So if she's in trouble, it might not be because the Labour vote has leapfrogged her, it's because the reform vote has taken so much off her that Labour come within striking distance. I thought it was also funny that they're telling people on the doorstep, this crib sheet, you know, the lines says mention Jeremy Corbyn. Well, he's not even a member of the Labour Party as far as I know. I mean, that's, you know, for good or real, that's in the past now.
So do you think that that's a sign of desperation,
yes,
that they've got nothing better to fight back with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's desperation, and they are clearly worried. I think James Cleverley's a bit worried up the road in Braintree as well.
I'm here in our beautiful Essex countryside, and I'm standing almost right in the middle of the Witham constituency, where you can see how beautiful it is.
She's also making a big play of trying to protect the countryside, which is sort of my territory. It's where I've been campaigning for 40 years. It's the quarries, it's the massive housing developments. Now, we do need some housing, I totally agree with that, but a lot of it's been imposed by government planning inspectors. And so much else as well. I mean, she says she wants to protect the countryside. She supports a 4-lane road going through open countryside between Braintree and Kelvedon.
How do you feel about Priti Patel's record in this area specifically?
I don't feel like I know enough to answer, if I'm honest, which I think speaks volumes, because I don't know what's happening. I'm not seeing anything happen.
Have you voted Tory in the past?
No.
Okay. So, because it's a sort of safe Tory seat, so you are not one of the people that's voted her into power.
No.
Do you think she's going to keep her seat this time around? Or do you want to see the Tories keep their seat?
No, I don't.
So do you know who you'd like to see in number 10?
I think if I had to choose, it would be Labour.
Because?
Just because we haven't seen anything in so long.
Change.
Yeah, any change in so long, and everything that's said, nothing comes to fruition. So I feel like maybe that's the change we need.
I think, you know, we're losing so much in Witham. Witham was a lovely town, a lovely high street. It's just changed so much. I've nothing against Priti, nothing against her. I think we just need a change.
I think we could potentially have, I mean, if I'm being very hopeful, we could potentially have a Portillo moment where Priti does lose her seat. Otherwise, I think we're going to give her a good run on Thursday.
We heard from somebody else that we interviewed that he had found like a crib sheet for the Tories, the canvassers, and apparently all it had on it was like stuff about reform and how they were trying to convince people not to vote reform. Do you think that there will be a split in the vote between Reform and the Tories?
I think there will be, but in terms of how strong the Reform candidate is or how strong their votes will be, it's very hard to still say. I mean, if they're going to take a sort of quite a big chunk out of Priti's votes.
But that would only work well for you, right?
It would really, yes. So we'll encourage everyone who wants to vote Reform instead of Tory, we'll encourage them to go ahead. It is hugely, largely different from last time. I think we have quite a sort of energy within Witham that people want change, and they see the changed Labour Party and they're positive that that's the party that could sort of potentially sort of lead the next government. She's been a Tory MP. We've had some very bad policies under her. She hasn't really looked after her own constituency. I mean, where some places had levelling up, Witham has had levelling down. So in that respect, I don't think she's done a good job for the constituency itself.
It's Peeps Online. So if you go to YouTube, PEEPS Online.
It's been the greatest privilege of my life to serve the Witham constituency as your Member of Parliament for the last 14 years. I've dealt with thousands of items of casework representing individual constituents. Sometimes many of them are in their most desperate state when they come to me, but also representing businesses through what I have to say has been an incredibly challenging decade.
The country's going well?
No?
And would you, if you were in charge, what would you change?
I'd change the bins.
The bins? And why would you change the bins?
I'd give them yellow faces.
You give them yellow faces? I think we need to vote you into power.
Look out, peeps is on the road, on the streets with the microphone. Stop for a chat, tell us your deal. Who will you vote for? How do you feel? Peeps.